to put in front of you. So I just want to wait for Mother Zoom. There she goes. She's telling me I'm officially live on Facebook. So what's happening right now in not only the private practice sector, it's really all companies that send texts out to communicate with their clients, patients, practice members. If you send text through a group texting app, you're going through a regulation process if you live in the United States, if you're texting from the United States. Everybody is going through this independent of what texting program you use. So I've got two people on with us tonight. This is 2 of a 3-part series. Last night we talked about what to do if you're in texting jail. Tonight we're talking about the HIPAA rules around texting from your cell phone. And then we're also going to talk to Greg about if you don't already have an email program to send emails out, because obviously email is it's another option to communicate with your practice in a group setting in a compliant way. Greg's going to show us around AttractWell, and it's like a super easy, super cheap, super streamlined way to get the words that you need to your people. And Coach Ashley just showed up too, and she's going to share. Coach Ashley is like my creative guru, and she's going to hopefully go into like what it looks like. So first I want to have Jeff talk. And I said to Jeff, we're not going for more than like 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. Just give us the skinny in a 3rd grade understanding or less. Why can't we text people from our cell phones? First of all, who are you and what do you do in this world?
My name is Dr. Jeff Brown. I am a chiropractor by profession, but I haven't practiced for over 5 years because I've been running HIPAAMATE. I built a software that helps small, mid-sized practices and business associates also just meet all their HIPAA compliance requirements. There's a whole bunch of them. And I decided to make software to make that super easy and make it affordable, which was always a huge challenge out there, is just finding affordable solutions. So yeah, I just run HIPAAMATE. So you actually can text using your cell phone. What you can't do though, or I should say, but if you're going to do that, there's a few sort of checkboxes that you have to have. So again, it's perfectly acceptable to use a mobile device to communicate with patients. It's just how or what method and what apps you're using to do those things. And the real thing that you need to have is, well, there's a couple things, but number one is you have to use a service, right, or an application, but that is HIPAA compliant. Okay, what does that mean? It's not just somebody saying we're HIPAA compliant, we secure your data. It's that you have a business associate agreement with that app maker or software maker or person or whoever it is you're moving information through. So you have to have a business associate agreement, signed document. Sometimes these come in the form of like a business associate agreement that is linked through like your services, terms of service, for example. Companies that have tons and tons of clients don't want to sign individual agreements all day long. So they literally just say, hey, if you're a client and you fall under HIPAA rules, here's a link to the business associate agreement that we agree to as part of our term. So it's like a legal agreement that way. Okay, but how do you, or what is it that, how do you know if you can do it through your cell phone's native app? So I have an iPhone, okay? And, you know, there's, if I can open it up, you know, you have your little
native app, Jeff.
The native app would be like your iOS device, like an Apple or an Android, right? So a Google app. The native app are the ones that they make. Actually, that's really not the correct term. Native app could be anything that's just built on the software of the device. But think of it as the Apple app, the app that, you know, the text messaging app that comes with your phone when you turn it on, right? So messages, I think, for Apple. For Google, it's, I don't know what it is, but I don't use Google devices. So whatever it is that the manufacturer, okay. So you have to have, or actually you don't even have to have a business associate agreement with Apple. I'm going to use iPhone as an example and just the messaging app, because this is what I struggled with when I was in practice. I wanted to text patients, right? Or someone calls, I'm running late. You know, what can I do? Can I reschedule? Is it okay if I come in 10 minutes late? So here's where I ran into an issue is that you can, if you were to use your native, or I should say your device's application, the one that comes pre-built in your phone, if you will, you can, as long as in Apple's case, you do not connect it to iCloud. meaning all those messages are stored locally, period, end of story. And Apple never sees them other than transmits the information.
So
Now,
in the if you're in texting hell right now, can we just turn off upload to iCloud to use our
well,
phone?
that's
No, it's
see
not.
that's where it becomes an issue, because you're using your phone for all kinds of things, and you probably are not going to do that. You're going to want it connected, and if they have any access to that data at all, then they become a business
But
associate,
you
which means
know
you need an
what?
agreement.
It's not a bad idea. You know, I interrupt a lot, Jeff, and Greg and Ashley. I know that you guys know that too. So please forgive me ahead of time. It's not a bad idea to buy like a burner phone and text from that. If you're not going to the cloud at all, if you are locked in, it's because a lot of people right now, they're saying you've got a window of 2 to 4 weeks where you're not going to be able to text your patients, and you're out of luck if I run my practice through my texting program, right? So can we do that? Can we just buy a burner phone and not?
Well, no, because there's another piece to it. It's the app. It's where does what's the information you're using sending it through? And in this case, there's also the company that's sending it, right? So if you are not hooked up to the internet, if you're on cellular data, for example, those messages are going through your wireless network. Now, I researched this because I'm on Verizon network, because I was like, hey, can I do this? Can I turn off my my iCloud and just be totally, there's something called the conduit exception rule, blah, blah. It just makes like the internet not a HIPAA business associate, because they literally just transmit your data from one place to another and they never store it. The problem with Verizon is, the best I could find on their documentation, is they store your messages for about 3 to 5 days.
You guys are so messed up.
Regardless of whether or not you're asking them to do it, they store them. So since they're doing that, they're now storing your data. So if a patient says, I'm running late, can I schedule or reschedule tomorrow? That information sits on Verizon servers for 5 days, which then becomes business associate, which they will not sign a business associate agreement. So that doesn't work, right? And so even if I'm doing that, because if you're ever, or you just turn off cellular, right? And you're only on the internet, but that's silly. I mean, you might as well just do it through your computer. So then the question is, okay, well then buy or get an app, download an app. There's tons of them out there where you're downloading an app that is specific for healthcare providers, right? For patients to communicate with, doctors to communicate with patients. And it's a separate app, just like Google Voice. I think you'll talk about it in a little bit. Google Voice, right, is an app for text messaging and calling too, but text messaging, and they are HIPAA compliant, right? They will sign a BAA. In fact, they do it through, Jody knows how to do it, but so therefore you download a separate app. It sits on your phone's home screen. The messages that you're doing with communicating with patients go through that app, not through your phone's standard app, right? They go through like Google Voice in this example. And all the messages are stored on Google servers. You have a BAA with them. That's totally compliant.
So you guys, what I want you to understand is that, and I talked to Greg yesterday, and Greg has this platform. We're going to get into AttractWell in a minute. And the platform has a texting feature, an email feature, an entire course creation feature, email. There's a lot to it, right? And he was like, yes, I'm very aware of what's going on in the texting world. So truly, any apps where you have the ability to send a mass text to a group of people, what's happening is they're trying to protect. I'm going to put this in quotes because there are too many patterns to all of this in my little brain over here, but they're trying to protect the end user to say, we're going to make sure that you're not getting spammed. So the understanding on this side of the computer per our texting program that I set up for people is you have to submit a form, and then it takes 2 to 4 weeks to get the form to be processed by the provider. And then you should be good to go. But there are a lot of shoulds, there are a lot of probablys involved with it. So the meantime solution is email. What I want to say before Jeff jumps off is, if you guys do not have a HIPAA policy for your practice, if you're in the US, if you're in Canada, if HIPAA is something that is a regulatory thing where you are, Jeff is 100% the guy to go to. He also gives our club members really great rates, really great service, really great care. And it's something that our team can help you with. And I dropped a link to the club. Jeff, is there anything else that you want to say Yeah,
the only thing is I'll clarify. I said, if you use one of these downloaded apps, you're completely compliant that's with an asterisk, because there's other things to be
Right.
compliant, right? You have to inventory your phone. That has to be part of your HIPAA compliance program. Who has access to your phone? You have to have it password protected. Okay, for obvious reasons. You have to password protect your account. You don't use like, my email and password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? That's not compliant. So there's other things that, of course, to kind of smooth out all of this, but it starts with having an app. Really doesn't matter what app you're using, as long as you have, again, a business associate agreement with that provider. That's your assurance that they are compliant, doing the right thing. And that's how you prove that you are. And then it's, yeah. So anywhere your patient information goes. Okay.
How can people find you?
HIPAAMATE.com. So HIPAAMATE.com. Or if you spell it wrong, HIPP. We have that domain too. It directs to the right place, because that happens like all the time. But yep, just reach or take a look. Pricing's all totally transparent on the website. Little demo video. We're doing lots of stuff going on. So,
and we are also, if you're in the club, we're having a training with Jeff in a couple of weeks. It's one of the perks of being a club member. Jeff, go enjoy your evening.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
We'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay, my AttractWell family, are we ready? So you're a chiropractor, and let's say we're in Minnesota, and you're walking along, singing your song, wearing your blue suede shoes, and all of a sudden you realize that none of the texts that have gone out to your patients in the past 2 days have been received by your patients, and you're wondering why your numbers are so slow this week. And then you realize that you are officially in texting hell. Help, AttractWell, help. Who are you? What do you do? Give us the lowdown on what AttractWell is.
Sure. So, yeah, first of all, I'm Greg here. So, yeah, we started AttractWell many years ago to solve a number of problems, but I think what we're here to talk about tonight is email and how that can help with your texting hell situation. Which I totally understand, because we do have a texting component in AttractWell, and we're going through the same thing here too with registrations and all that. It's just not a lot of fun, but I'm sure we'll get through it. In the meantime, there's email, a great alternative. It works great if you have email addresses for everybody. And yeah, so we have, we'll be able to show you here. I think Ashley's got something set up for you to show you in terms of how you could maybe get an AttractWell account. If you don't have an email provider, how to get your upload your contact list and compose and send an email. Just the basic stuff to get you through that. And email offers a lot of design flexibility that text doesn't. So there's definitely ways of contacting people during that time if you have their email address on file. So I know, Ashley, you've got something lined up here too. If you want to, go ahead if you're already there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So like Greg mentioned, obviously with everything that we'll be showing you today, you will want to have an AttractWell account in order to be able to follow along and do what we're doing. I know Jody has a link that she can share with you. It is $1 for your first month. And we do have, like she mentioned, a lot that can help you in your practice, and not only how you run it, but how you can expand and build upon your income streams that you may have in your practice. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you do, if you haven't done so yet, after you've got yourself set up here, there's a couple of things actually. Number one, you want to make sure that you have your email address that is associated with the domain of your business. So the .com, the .net, the whatever URL you have for your practice. You want to make sure that you have whatever your email is on that domain set up right over here. That's where your name is going to show up. It's what you're going to be using when you sign up. Whatever you put here is the email address that will send out on your behalf using AttractWell. Step two, after you get this set up, is you want to reach out to our team and ask for a custom mail server. We're able to set something up on the back end there that protects your deliverability, especially if you have a larger practice list that you're going to be importing, which is going to be our next step. So typically what this is going to look like is a CSV file, comma separated values. It's usually going to look like a spreadsheet, and you're going to export that spreadsheet from Microsoft Excel or whatever you're using into a CSV file. Now, we
Ash,
do
can
have
I interrupt
articles.
you
Yeah.
really quick? So you
Sure.
guys, what I want you to be thinking is if you're that doctor in Minnesota and you can't reach your people and you need to explain to them that your office is running 20 minutes behind, you can send an email out on Sunday saying, from this point forward, if you have an appointment with our practice, be sure to check your email on the day of your appointment, just in case, just while we're in texting hell. And then you can use this email program to very easily send an email in 5 minutes or less to all of the people who are coming in today. So I just wanted to put in framework why we're going over that.
Sure. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So you are going to be using this to reach out to all of your practice members. And of course, you're going to be getting their information into your contact management system here, hopefully by way of a spreadsheet that you've exported into a CSV file. Now, if you hit this little question mark guy and you type in the word import or the word contacts, then you can actually learn about, here we go, uploading or importing contacts. We do have a step-by-step article that walks you through exactly what to do here. That is going to be over here under your contact settings. And there is a space where you can go and import, and your help article will follow you around until you tell it to go away. You can import your contacts here. Now, when you do that, you're probably going to include something like a tag, and you'll see that in the article, where you'll maybe put the tag practice member, right? Because a practice member might be different from a lead, for instance, if you use our system for lead generation purposes. So do include some kind of naming convention there so that you know who is who on your list. So what you're going to do next, and this is of course for you, if you have never used AttractWell before, everybody who is now in your contact manager is in your practice, right? So you're basically going to be able to go to your contacts. And again, if you don't have AttractWell already, you're just going to be able to go straight into mail and just send something to everybody right now. If you have been using AttractWell previously, you will want to make sure that you go into filters and maybe add that practice member tag, client tag, however you have that set up. You filter for those contacts. It's only going to show the contacts with that tag. In this case, there's 2. We go to actions, we go to mail. If you do this tonight at 2 a.m., we're not going to send it right away. You're going to go schedule for this to send tomorrow morning, right? So 9 a.m. And if you're in Minnesota, I think you're still in Eastern time. So, or maybe you're in Central. So there you go. So you specify the time zone, you specify the time you want to send it, you say what you want to say, and you can schedule it out. Now you do see right here that there is a signature. If you do have a signature that you're accustomed to sending, if you send email, there is a place where I'm going to show you real quick where you can get that done. And that is under your settings here. And then under general, where you can go and just basically replicate whatever the email signature is that you normally use in your practice when you've been emailing previously, usually in a more manual way. So, and there's also, and actually when you reach out to our team, before you email anybody, make sure that you've got the custom mail server. And when you reach out to us about the custom mail server, this is something that I think, Greg, you know more about this than me, but there's actually a HIPAA compliance server that can be applied there on the back end. So just make sure before you go and send out a huge bulk email that you reach out to our team, make sure that you've got your custom email server and specify that you're looking for HIPAA compliance with this. And from there, you get to go and send an email just like the one that I shared with you. And again, you can schedule that in the future.
One of the cool things
if you want it to go out Monday morning, go ahead.
Something that I always bother Greg about is, like, let's say I have a new patient who starts on Thursday, but I have a scheduled text for Saturday. If they have the tag associated with my patient list, they'll automatically be grouped into that scheduled email, which I think is that's like an intuitive thing that really is a game changer because you won't have to go back to it. So can you just show what the templates look like, Ashley? So if you templates are a big deal in my world. And we actually have our clients hire us just to write out their templates for them. And the template is the one-click solution for sending an email in literally 3 seconds or less.
That's right. And those templates are something that you can create in saved replies, or of course, Jody's team can create it for you. Essentially, all you're doing here is creating an email that you can make once and send as many times as you want. And so you find this in a lot of the content that you have that Jody has and things that we've created together, where you can go in and maybe there's a welcome email or a welcome message. This is useful for text as well. If you use AttractWell for text, basically any message that you would send on more than one occasion, you can put right here, right? So if you've got a welcome, like a practice welcome, or maybe you've got a reminder before an upcoming appointment, if you've got a follow-up, whatever that might look like, you can put that here. So you could go in and maybe you want to design this. Maybe this is, maybe you have a practice logo. I'm just going to pretend like this is our practice logo. I'm going to shrink the size down. Oops, I'm going to shrink that size down to, I'll just say 150 and see how small it is. I think that's good. And then I'm going to change the name here to my practice name. It is important when you send email that your images have alternate text.
You guys, what she's doing right now requires so much skills to be able to talk, type, and know that you're in front of thousands of people, which actually is what I love so much about you.
So then you say, welcome to the practice. You can put their name in here. Right, and this will actually populate their name. So when you take their contact information, it's got their name included, most likely. Then we're going to pop their name in there, and then any other information that you would include, right? So we'll put all of this stuff in here, and then we'll sign off. And let me show you how this works. So I'm going to save this. This is our welcome to practice email. And this is welcome to practice name. I'm going to save this. And then let's just say, and I would actually recommend, if you're going to be doing this today or within the next couple of days, after you've fired off that email to our AttractWell team to help you with the email server on the back end, go and create some of these, because then once your email and everything is ready to start sending, you simply go into your contacts, you choose using filters, or if you don't have anybody but your practice people, you can just go straight to mail them, and you can put your cursor right here. I'm actually going to hit enter a couple times, put my cursor here, and then go to saved replies. And I'm going to go look for that welcome to practice email. And there's the one that we just created, right? So if all of this is already done, then you don't even have to think about it. You can schedule this to send off to who you want it to go to. And of course you can, where this says talk soon, we can delete some of that space, make it look good. And then of course, again, schedule this to go out whenever it is that you want it to
And
go
often
out.
the question that will come up is if someone emails you back, like say someone gets that email and then they email you back, that email will go to the inbox of whatever email you signed up for AttractWell with. And that's a
correct.
really important thing to understand when you're selecting what, can we stop sharing for a sec?
Yeah, sure.
So we're always talking in staffless practice, I'm just going to say Greg and Ashley were like the first people I came to. I went to Jane App and I went to AttractWell, and I'm like, I think I'm going to start an online school. Should I do it? What are we going to do? And it was almost 3 years ago. And what we talk about now over and over and over again is the protection of time, energy, and money. We need to protect everybody's time who's involved with our practice, our patients and ourselves. We need to protect our money, their investment in our care, and we need to protect the energy of everybody investing in the practice. Something like being in texting jail, sucks the life out of protecting time, energy, money. It's like, but the other thing is you can look at it two ways, right? You can pull up your big girl pants or your big boy pants, roll up your sleeves and say, here's an opportunity for me to safety proof my practice one step further. And if the worst thing that came out of this whole thing that's happening is you now have a rock solid email program with AttractWell, that's the best thing that could have happened to you. So I'm watching Facebook too, you guys. If you have specific questions and you're live with us, you can get the rates with AttractWell and with HIPAAMATE discounted if you're a club member. I'm going to say it really clearly to you. Being a club member is free for your first month. So at least get into the club, use the promo code SERVE. It's normally $89 a month. We've got tons of benefits, including promotional offers with our partners, which AttractWell is one of. So I put the link in the comments there too. Is there anything else that someone who's not tech savvy, this is not their jam. They're like a body geek. They know the body inside and out. They don't know how to send a group email. Can you speak to that fear or that concern that might be going through their head right now?
Oh, absolutely. The truth is that where this technology is concerned, it is designed to do a thing that you are already doing. The human, normal, in-person, skin and bone stuff that you do when you move your mouth and you talk to your patients, all we're doing is creating a version of you that shows up on your behalf and does that when you're not there.
Well said.
That's all this is.
Very
That's
well
all
said.
it is.
Yep.
One thing at a time. Just so create the welcome email, right? And use it. And then create the other thing and use it, right? And just make like a little list that you want to tick off. If you have an idea, write it down, just like you would with anything else, right? If you're managing your life generally, you're not going to get an idea and then just go run after it when you still have this thing in front of you that you're supposed to be doing, right? So where this is concerned, you don't have to fall off the deep end and create, a full robot business, but, create one little version of you that can show up on your behalf at a time.
Yeah. And, you can do a deep dive if you are tech savvy. If you want to geek out, the AttractWell team will go there with you, right? There are all kinds of cool things that you can do inside of AttractWell. Or, for literally, you guys, I don't know if you know this, but I have a Get Oiling account, which is like the sister account with Young Living branded for AttractWell is like the vanilla version of Get Oiling, which is like the rainbow version with all things Young Living, right? And the way that I use Get Oiling or AttractWell for my practice is I just do saved replies, email campaigns. That's really it. Those are the only two things I use for Get Oiling for my practice. And I've looked at the other programs out there. They're way too complicated. They are just like, you need to have a PhD in rocket science to know how to plug and play with these programs. It's very simple to send a group email out through AttractWell. So thank you for taking time on your Thursday. It's Thursday, right? Yeah, on your Thursday evening. And I called these guys yesterday or the day before and said, we're in an SOS situation. Can you jump on? So thank you.
Yeah, happy to
do it.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. And if you're watching from Facebook or you're watching the recording of this, you have any questions, you hit me up. You know where to find me.